impossible based on what we have seen thus far this tournament.
Atlus, this is
I end my point.
Stop now, just let him end the point.
No, relentless optimism is my thing. It's not a good look on you.
No, it's relentless.
Wait. This isn't.
Hold up!
Guys, we had a deal, okay? This wasn't supposed to happen.
But last time we saw Nami picked away from Lucian, it didn't go so well.
Okay, but that had Jin. This is Draven.
It's definitely an upgrade. I'm very happy with that. I'm a known Jin anti. I'm just not really a huge fan. Milios and Xin Zhao both going to be taken away here by Fnatic. I actually really like this first 3 picks. Hides their solo lanes as well, and Milios does just fine alongside the Lucian. And Ksante priority always very high, especially for this team because Chovy also loves playing it.
I mean, you have to wonder if the Zac is going to be the ban again from Gen.G. They know that Oscar likes to play it, and it can be a pretty good matchup. Especially if they just want to play it safe. But top lane answers definitely seem to be the approach for Gen.G. The other problem that Gen.G have introduced to Fnatic is, if you pick Camille again, we're just going to swap on you. We don't even care about our bot lane matchup. We're just going to make it harder for you to play and lane and basically make Oscar uncomfortable. So you either play a tank, and then you play tank versus tank in a Gen.G matchup, or you pick a carry and we lane swap on you. So I don't know what Fnatic's solution is going to be, because even if Oscar is feeling himself, I don't think Gen.G is going to give him the opportunity to take advantage of that.
And I've got another thing, because I was talking to Dracos earlier on, and he is not a huge fan of Lucian. How are we feeling about it in the hands of Noah and Jun as far as the Lucian Milios lane is concerned? Vedius?
Against Jackie Love, wasn't it? But after game 1, it could be it. I'm optimistic.
Hey, that's true.
Yeah, I was about to say, if this was even from my perspective, this was a Guma carry, I'm like, no, pack it up.
Yeah.
Go quick, go to the next one. But Peyz and Lehends, we even saw it in the last game, definitely have not been infallible, and with champions like Draven in particular, just a single misposition, a single misplay in lane can lead to you falling substantially behind. I was actually wondering if they wanted to go for a Jax ban or a Sejuani ban. Jax because he's specifically just really strong into the Xin Zhao, and Kiin has played him before. Sejuani because it's what they played last game in a double front.
Another Kha'Zix really maybe, gentlemen?
I don't know if we're going to get it this early. That would be a treat though. And Maokai, I don't think you really need to worry too much about, even though Kane's played a lot, because Milios, to me, feels so strong.
Oh, is he just going to do it?
Oh, please.
He's just allowed to have fun. Canyon's allowed to have fun today, ladies and gentlemen. If you're a Gen.G fan, you are breathing a huge sigh of relief.
Look how happy he is.
Yeah, that's a happy polar bear. That is about as much positive emotion you're going to get out of Canyon on the stage. As Orianna being looked at. I actually love this core from Fnatic. Orianna with Lucian. Definitely a lot of synergy there that we have definitely seen over in the LCK as well, and will be locked in.
I feel like this is just setting up for another Corki pick.
Potentially.
Even though when you look at it, when I see Kha'Zix Corki, that's not...
It doesn't really spark joy, does it?
Spark joy. It doesn't inspire confidence, but it would be very Gen.G to try and go for something like that. Chovy did pick it into Faker, obviously, in the LCK finals. Renekton, I actually really like with this draft. I think the only downside that you would end up with is that
that's a bit cute.
Level of reliable engage is really rough, even though the combination of Xin, Orianna, I think, is quite strong. You are reliant on hitting your W and finding someone in the enemy backline. The Poppy, though, going to be a lot of power there for Oscarinin, particularly in the early laning phase.
So what is Chovy cooking up here for his pick?
Or could just be another Corki again. I think I would prefer Talia, though. Oh, that's also fine.
There's an Aurelion Sol. Put that one down into the mid lane as well, and it's just more scaling for Chovy.
Yep, one of the best Aurelion Sols on the planet. Of course, when Chovy's playing something, you can generally say one of the best.
That's a bit of a gimme, isn't it?
It is a bit of an easy one, I will admit. But yeah, Chovy's Aurelion Sol in the finals in particular, even in their losses, was incredibly impactful. Specifically though, Canyon on the Kha'Zix, for those that didn't get to watch the LCK finals, he brought it out specifically against the Xin Zhao. Considered a counter pick, just really good in the matchup once you hit that level 6, crucially, because there's nothing that the Xin Zhao can do about it. And against a squishy composition, Kha'Zix can have a lot of fun. The Poppy throwing is a small wrench in the works, but ultimately, Canyon's Kha'Zix is definitely a treat to watch in the mid game.
Yeah, we're just always happy when you get to see Canyon on carries and not Sejuani Maokai duty. The one thing I do worry about for Gen.G with Draven comps, I always look, do you have something like a Vi, something that gives you guaranteed ways to set up early kills for the Draven? That's not really the case here, so we'll see how Peyz and Lehends do. Topside though, big Gen.G are going to be very happy.
Yeah, I think this is something that Gen.G are very happy about, but I do love the cohesion to come through from Fnatic's composition. Poppy always makes things difficult to play around with that Keeper's Verdict, being able to make the battlefield less even. And we'll see whether they can play around it and find some advantages there. Definitely very different drafts coming into this game number 2. You love to see a team mix it up completely after a difficult first game, and Fnatic have done just that. Now we'll just have to see whether they can actually topple the first seed from the LCK in at least one of these games. Give us more than another 3-0, guys. That's what we want.
I mean, my concern for Fnatic is ultimately their team fighting. They've always had a problem with it all year. Their main problem with team fighting is that they have this tendency to fight 4v5. They tend not to respect where their teammates are on the map because they are a very aggressive team. So going in for more of a team fight direction against Gen.G is always going to be a scary thing to do. But I think the way you beat Gen.G is just get a big enough early leads. And the question for me is, can Fnatic pull that off? Razork on this Xin Zhao needs to make something happen between levels 1 to 5. I want to see some aggression. I want to see some threats of a dive. Maybe try and burn Chovy's flash to set it for a level 6 play. Something. I need to see something from Fnatic in the early game if they're going to go toe-to-toe against Gen.G.
And I'm excited to see whether Canyon's going to once again be playing his Q Evolve. I'm just going to go and murder this Xin Zhao over and over again playstyle that we did see. We've seen a few different takes on what you're supposed to evolve on the Kha'Zix, and Q Evolve is often what the solo Q Kha'Zix will take just to murder people.
Well, shout out to Kadril in that he's the one that taught me that in pro play, Kha'Zix kind of has to, because usually you don't get leashes, so you're very dependent on your jungle play, so you just kind of have to take it, otherwise your jungle can be very unfortunate. So normally in the pro level you'll see Q into W, but as you rightly say, some individuals have their own perspective on
I remember when we had like the Bruiser Kha'Zix with Aurelion first and Conqueror. Hasn't been in the game for a long time. So
I hated Bruiser Kha'Zix so much.
I thought it was.
I mean, if you're a real OG, you'll remember Alex Zish's Kha'Zix.
I know. Or you'll remember Ambition's Kha'Zix
hell
mid.
Yeah, hell yeah.
When he evolved just in lane. One big thing though with the Kha'Zix, and we saw that Gen.G was able to do that consistently, and it's a big task for Chovy in this game as well, is a lot of what Kha'Zix can do, the evade particularly post 6, are going to be relying on Chovy having mid lane prio. And his ASOL, similar really to his Corki, he's been one of the few players that has made this scaling pick, because in the LCK we saw it from players like Bulldog, and it felt like ASOL where, you know, obviously he skills really well, but in the early game he just didn't do a whole lot. Chovy though, his laning is so oppressive that we see him have prio a lot, which might keep Razork on the back foot and buy space for Canyon.
The only good news, and I admit that this isn't a perfect comparison, but in Europe we do have Caps, and he's probably the most aggressive Aurelion Sol player that we have, so he definitely has some experience dealing with someone who loves to get in your face and fight you. He even was able to find a solo kill onto Caps throughout the finals, specifically in this matchup, but that was definitely more so on Caps than it was on Humanoid. So we'll see. So far the laning phase isn't going too badly. We'll see how things transition, as both junglers largely just doing a full clear. Ward dropped on Raptors. Razork has been able to navigate his way around that vision to avoid giving information. But overall things pretty even across the board in the early laning phase.
Good to see this from Oscar. This is exactly the early levels you really want to play aggressive. Eventually, Kiin will get to a point where he can shrug off some of the damage. This is what Razork wants to do.
An opportunity here as Chovy does spot him out. He does try to fly away, and it is going to work out. We don't have a knock-up primed or anything like that from the Xin Zhao, so Chovy just able to fly his way out of there. Still going to cost him a fair bit of health, and going to be on the back foot for a little bit in this mid lane.
What's bigger though is that Razork actually didn't pick up his Raptor camp to try and make this gank work, but because the gank didn't actually work out, didn't get flashed. Now Canyon will be able to build an early experience lead. And you already pointed out, Vedi, that like those first 5 levels for the Xin Zhao are so big, because that's where you really want to try and build as big of a lead as possible, because post 6, the 1v1 gets insanely hard, so you're going to have to seed a lot of prio on objectives.
Yeah, I mean, when we think back to that finals, Canyon was just power farming on his Kha'Zix, right? He was just stealing as many camps as he could. He was playing super selfishly. But I think back to when Canyon was on Damwon and when they won that World Championship, that was his playstyle, right? It was a team that played very much towards him. And while on Gen.G, he obviously has diversified and showcased he can play all sorts of styles because we know how incredible of a jungler he is. On this Kha'Zix, I expect him to be a little bit more selfish and play for himself. And already he's going to make his way back out onto the map. Razork spending a little time covering for bot lanes that look at Canyon already making his way towards the Krogs on the top side and looking to set himself up for success.
A good ward there from Gen.G, making sure that the bot lane stays safe, and Razork, as he should, looking for a lot of early plays, but not able to find anything. Once Canyon hits 6, it's going to have to be a lot more careful about which brushes he walks into. Another thing, though, with Draven, you're always going to be looking towards what are going to be the plays towards that bot side of the map. And really, outside of Chovy roams or them taking another 2v2, which in the last game didn't quite work out, I do think it's going to be hard for Peyz to build a lead here, which means that maybe if they're able to, say, get Oscar towards the bot side of the map or set up a dive with Razork, there's some possibility for a punish there.
Well, Chovy just breathing on Humanoid a whole bunch here in this mid lane, winning out on that trade. I do like the way that Gen.G plays around Draven is very different to how a lot of other teams play around Draven. Often it's all about, like, let's get that cash in, let's get that cash in. But the way Gen.G play it, they use it as a threat. As Canyon is just going to steal away a wolf. That is not very nice at all. But Gen.G just use it as sort of like a, maybe he's going to be able to get a cash in and it'll be fine. But they never rely on it at all. They just add it to their list of threats that you have to deal with.
Every jungler knows that feeling where like you have your smite as well. And you see the objective
It was 7 HP. He was just going to let
Yeah.
Let the dot take it. Oh, that's such a tilter.
And now he's on the grubs. Very Canyon playstyle. I have noticed that he tends to prioritize the top side of the map a lot more. He's quite happy to sacrifice those rakes in order to get these grubs, especially given the recent changes that have come through from the patch, where it just has a little bit more power behind it. I think we saw the impacts of that in the previous game when Kiin just had free access onto the tower, how many plates he was able to secure after you get 6 grubs specifically. And Razork can't really do much else on the map right now. I really want to see him look for more ganks. But again, we look at the minimap and look at this vision control. It's just perfectly set up.
He dives on top of Humanoid. That's the first blood going over to Canyon in a solo kill.
He's evolving!
And did he actually just evolve? Was that just a full ambition that he's pulled off here? The spirit of Samsung
Did he get
Galaxy
the evolve
still
off?
Yes! He got the Q evolve off!
And then just
on.
Oh, man. Well, I mean, it's pretty close to the same position that Ambition did it earlier on, so there we go. Bit of a trip down memory lane. Noah's going to be exhausted here towards the bottom side of the map, but so is Peyz. Now looking to back his way out, piercing light. Not a lot of value there. There's now Razork. I don't know about this one, but it is a 2v1 as he just dives on top of him, and Chovy, he's flying through as well. Flash has to be used to get himself out, but thankfully, Humanoid is there. So they're not able to grab too much more. But once again, it's first blood going over to Gen.G.
Canyon just playing around his XP advantage, looking to steal away that blue buff. Was already a risky thing to do, but he knew that Chovy had his back. Noah now looking for a bit of a trade.
Nice bit of aggression. Bubble goes wide.
But ultimately, advantage gained for Canyon. He has a full level over Razork right now. You can see 52 to 38. He's, what, 3 camps over his jungle counterpart, a few of which just being thefts away from Razork. And we talked about how Razork wanted to find that aggression in the early game, but Canyon is just making it difficult for him with the amount of pressure that he's putting on him in the early game. We look back at this, Razork was there to cover, but Humanoid died too fast. And then he starts evolving.
And he evolves the claws. Oh, man. Canyon never change.
It's crazy, we were just talking about it.
I know!
It's sort of like, I know we talk about Faker when he's not there quite often, as we're going to have a look at this. Oscarinin having to deal with an all-out Kiin. Yeah, he's actually extraordinarily tanky. Kiin dashing around the place and isn't going to be able to kill him. There's a whirling death that's blown out of the base. Oscar almost going to get hit by that one as the Q pulls him back. Almost some anti-synergy there between the top and bot lanes.
A large man with knives on his arms or some boots with studs in them.
It's the boots.
It's the boots.
It's gotta be the boots.
Did Chovy just miss a cannon?
Wait.
It's over. It's over.
He missed a cannon.
Pack it
It's
up.
actually done.
Yeah, pack it up.
It's not called Chovying anymore.
No, it's not. We're gonna have to cancel it.
The term is just, it's going
null
to be
and
taken out of
void,
popular lexicon. It's no longer allowed.
Someone has to contact the dictionary now.
Yeah.
All right, Canyon.
Let Oxford know immediately.
Yeah. What about Collins? Do we let
Get him
know
on
as
this!
well, or is there a hierarchy between the two? I don't
That's a
really
great
know about
question.
dictionaries that much. Someone will have to let us know.
I know Webster's is big.
Oh, really? There's a third one?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh, man.
Okay, there's a lot more dictionaries than free, Atlus.
You know more about dictionaries than I expected, Chronicler.
There's also the Urban Dictionary. They're high on the list too.
Yeah, that one, I don't know whether it's necessarily as canon.
One of the other big things that we see as well with Fnatic, I think trying to keep aggressive vision of this pit is that obviously your objective control with a Umbral Glaive Q evolve Kha'Zix is going to be out of this world.
Yep.
Canyon gonna get hit here, and again, it's the power of that A-Sol. Chovy just making sure that Canyon can just take any camp that his heart desires.
Lehends, comes lightning, not going to connect onto him. There's more breathing here from Chovy. Shockwave going to interrupt his flight. That is just going to be him backing away, but winning out the trade. Still has his ultimate up and available. Level 8 here for the Aurelion Sol. Still building up these stacks, close to 100. And that is a pretty decent clip here for the Aurelion Sol. Speaking of stacks, Peyz also getting a fair bit of adoration. Really like to get himself a kill. Razork not going to quite find the W. Still Chovy just farming as best he can.
Full levels still in favor of Canyon as he makes his way towards bot lane. Peyz and Lehends.
Ow! These spinning axes doing a lot of work. Stand aside, going to connect there as Jun's knocked up into the sky. A few of these axes landing, but no, offering a fair bit of damage back. But now, Canyon makes his way in. Oh my god! Peyz just executes him with the ultimate! And Gen.G are going to take their second.
Wow, what a play from Gen.G. They find the Draven auto attack into Kha'Zix Q, into the execution from Peyz. They predict the flash from Jun as well, and they get the cash out. I think that was 650 gold that Peyz just secured, ballooning the gold lead to 2K.
It might be even more, because he was down, he was down, I think, 300 gold.
I don't think it was 3, I think it was like 1. Something, it was pretty close.
Yeah, it might have been with the wave, but as you point out, Vedi, if you see the confidence as well from Peyz and Lancer, because Humanoid is backing. I'm pretty sure they spotted Razork going up top as well, and Canyon is already moving over. And as you point out, the prediction there, even without the CC. Yeah, I think it's about like, what, 1,000 gold that went over to Peyz?
Lot.
Yep.
That is a rich Draven now.
Oh, yeah.
Very nice back for him.
And that is, you know, Peyz just with that advantage we were talking about before. It's not something that Gen.G often forces, but it's going to work out here. Kiin dealing with Oscarinin as best he can here towards the top side of the map. Poppy's been having a pretty good time as far as the laning phase, but I think that Oscar's going to have a tough time as Lehends, that's a dangerous time. Evan and Flo going to come down. Oh, no!
Oh, oh, Razork got the kill at least.
Yeah, okay, so he dies.
It's fine.
He
It's
dies.
fine. It's fine. Razork got the
Observer's
flash
just
as well.
continuing the zoom in onto Noah, though. A little bit brutal as he scratches his head there. You can see in the player cam. That's all right. We weren't watching. It's fine.
I mean, if that's not an indication of the pressure kind of getting to you, I don't know what is. Like, you can tell that playing an opponent like Gen.G means a lot to these players, but also you feel the consequences of that as Humanoid gets knocked up.
Big ol' knock up here from Chovy as he does have to flash. Canyon just flashes forward. The shockwave is a hula hoop around Humanoid, but it keeps the Kha'Zix at bay. Chovy's just going to fly on top of him, though. Just walks out towards the side. The power of the walk, Chronicler, that we've spoken about many times.
One of the most OP abilities in the game.
Oh,
Very
it's so
nicely
strong.
executed there by Humanoid. Just walks it off. And Gen.G, I think Chovy could have also just played a little bit more for the plays there, got overexcited. But even then, you get the ultimate, you get the flash. And because Razork also, I assume he flashed to make sure that he got the kill on Lehends before there was a collapse opportunity. But that does mean Canyon did use his, but outside of that, Gen.G, I think, looking pretty good in terms of summoners.
Oh good, we're getting a replay. Exactly what I wanted.
As this is so Lehends. Because he uses the scries, he's like, I'm fine.
It's just the fact that his jungler is top lane and like he sees nothing.
Just walks in.
Oh, Noah.
And if he had have flashed over, he would have been immediately bubbled. But it also doesn't actually matter because Lehends was definitely not getting out of that one. Blast cone shenanigans coming down here.
Difference between the junglers.
Yeah, this 2v1. Canyon going to have to jump his way out. Not exactly an isolated target there when there's two of them. I figured that out all by myself, guys.
I will say, though, overall, Fnatic, not in the worst of spots.
Huh?
I've seen worse, gentlemen.
True.
And I'm thinking about the fact that mid lane is a lot more even than it was compared to the previous game. Orianna's still looking to stack up that Seraph's Embrace, which is totally fine. Oscar doing well in the isolated matchup top side. Wasn't expecting him to do as well as he currently is, but credit to him. The only problem is the fact that Draven is, you know, about a boots up and can.
He might also be
as a
dying.
player.
Also, there is also the Dragon problem, which we haven't really talked about yet. But even though Chovy doesn't have a lead, I feel like ASOL games so
Oh, that Dragon problem.
Yeah,
That Dragon.
there's a few different, like the one dragon that they picked up not really
the
as
one
much of a
dragon,
problem.
I wouldn't call a problem
I mean,
yet.
don't get me wrong, Cronicler, like, Chovy as a being,
As a being,
is always a passive,
as a celestial creature.
He's like, in many ways, in a game of League, he's like global warming, the ever-existential threat that we all know we're going to have to deal with at some point.
It's very Lovecraftian, yeah.
And at some point, it passes the point at which you can deal with it anymore, you know? Like,
All right, I'm good with that. Let's disregard Chovy. I do agree, particularly with what we saw in the previous, when it comes to the skirmishes, oh boy.
There's a bit of an all-out here from Kiin. Decent little shield for Oscar as he makes it underneath his turret. You're not going to connect, and that's going to mean the Poppy will survive, as Poppies often do. Just getting tankier and tankier. Does have that Sunfire Cape already completed, and Oscar's going to happily clear up the creeps.
Kiin does get the back end. I wonder if they're actually looking to rotate him towards the bottom half of the map, or if he's just going to run to top. Looks like not going to be the case. Just going to stay in this top side of the map. But I think the skirmishes from Fnatic were quite good in the previous game. The 5v5 though, there was one, and it was a complete disaster, right? It was the one around the dragon, where they weren't able to mark Kiin. So that is something that they're gonna have to do, because I think that when you look at the goal, when you look at the champions, there is actually an angle for them here. They have a really strong combo with the Xin Zhao and Orianna. You have a lot of bursts coming through from Noah, and they have Oscarinin who can turn the numbers into your favor. But actually executing upon it is going to be the big thing, because in the previous one, that didn't quite hit the mark. Happened this time around. Oh.
Nice dash forward there from Noah. Does a lot of damage to Peyz as an ulti comes down towards his bottom lane. As Chovy is busy breathing on minions. Never changed, Chovy. Razork was spotted on that ward, which probably tells us more as to why Chovy didn't go further forward.
I will say, very rarely domestically do we ever see Razork controlled as much as we're currently seeing. The vision from Gen.G, it feels so efficient in terms of how it just gives them enough information to keep track.
Oh, there's a flash onto Chovy. He is immediately going to flash away, though, and then just flies. Has to do that in a straight line, though, as now Razork's on top of him. Dangerous time here for the Dragon, and he's taken down. Great shockwave there from Humanoid, and he's on the board. Still, they're going to lose their outer turret in the mid lane, and Gen.G may look for more.
Big thing here as well, Canyon sitting on 2 items, almost level 11. Incredible power spike. As Peyz.
Oh my god, Jun! Ooh, able to get himself out of there. Does have to ulti. Still, the Whirling Death not going to get another cash in.
This is one of the big things with Gen.G. Fnatic, really good job on forcing a play onto Chovy, caught off guard, thinks that he can just walk up to the Drake, and they get the kill, but they're not going to end up getting the Dragon. With Kiin's TP, he saves the turret, and they lose so much in mid lane as well.
I mean, it's why Gen.G is so good. They can cover. Oh no, the TP interrupted.
Oh dear, there's the all-out. That's a big ride for Humanoid. Now trying to get himself out of there. He flashes before the tidal wave gets there, but Kiin, he's gone all out, and he's going to be able to take out Humanoid. They'll grab Razork as well. And Gen.G, they just took a Drake, and then they killed 2 people as well.
And then look at the difference. Now Oscar in danger.
Yeah,
but no, it's
distracted
okay.
once again by the minions.
Chovy is not going to play for that.
Oscar knows. He's just like, put minions between me and Chovy, and he will be distracted. It'll be,
Really?
never mind. There's no minions.
Come
They
on.
ran. Oh, he did it again. See?
I can't believe he's like, no, don't worry. Just ult is just to zone you off the wave, and then he's like, psych, flying towards you.
But you see the difference, right? Chovy gets killed, and what does Gen.G get off the back of that? They secure a mid tower, they use the pressure from the mid tower to convert that into the Dragon, to then getting 2 kills onto both Humanoid and Razork, who then can't cross-map that anywhere because Chovy's covering top, and the mid wave has already been pushed towards the tier 2. It feels as though every time you try to do something against Gen.G, they either cross-map it and get something else, but even if you feel like you've punished them, it feels like that they've just somehow mitigated whatever punishment you've just tried to do, and every time you then make a mistake, it feels like that you fall infinitely further behind because you can't get anything else back on the map.
This is a more extreme version of what we saw in game number 1 as well, when they got the pick on Chovy towards the bot side. When he went in very aggressively, got picked off on the Porky, but then the investment that Fnatic put into getting that kill immediately got punished by Gen.G, and now Canyon has actually hit level 2 on his ultimate. It's a really big win.
Takes down the turret here. Let's see what Oscar can actually do here, though, as Kiin's not looking like he's taking damage. Oscar's looking like he's not even taking damage. He picks up the buckler, and we could be here for a while, gentlemen.
Atlus.
Yep. Gotta hit each other as many times as possible. Kiin goes the wrong direction. That's just fine. I don't think you were killing him anyway.
Just two ships awkwardly bumping in the night.
Yeah.
Again,
so there's some chop.
They're both like, oh, I'm sorry. I'll get out of the way.
Canyon mainly hovering around Chovy. There are camps on the bot side of the map for him to farm, but those aren't his priority right now. Fnatic have their eyes on this top tower, looking to secure their second of the game. You can see this gold gap about 2.5k. Advantages still largely sitting on jungle and AD carry. I mean, I look at the itemization and it doesn't look that dramatic. Admittedly, Canyon is terrifying right now, but we'll see how things move forward. Again, it's this team fighting where I'm mostly concerned for Fnatic. They prove themselves optimistic when it comes to the skirmishes.
Happy to take them.
Yeah, but in the 5v5s, I'm still waiting to see if Fnatic can find a fight that are on their terms, as opposed to a way in which Gen.G can just slaughter them.
I want to see them take a fight with Oscar there as well, because I think that having the Poppy able to change the landscape of a team fight so dramatically with the ultimate, I think is going to be a huge boon for Fnatic. And Gen.G don't have the largest amount of mobility with their damage dealers in Chovy and Peyz. So if you can sort of get Canyon out of there, get Kiin out of there, then maybe you catch a Dragon and a Draven unawares.
I don't know how close Chovy is, but if he's able to pick up his Leandries as well, they're sitting on IE spike. Kiin just picked up his Spirit Visage, like almost across the board 2 item spikes, and they have the empowered ultimate. And I don't think that you can afford to give over this Dragon, setting up for Cloud Soul point.
Oh, yeah, that is so much damage. Razork going to be able to use his ultimate. But now they won't have that for the next fight. 1 minute until the Drake, though, so I think he should be okay. Happy to use it to get himself out.
That was quite the ambitious face check from Razork.
Bad Kha'Zix on the enemy team.
Yeah. That he's already identified. Gonna lose his life because of it. Chovy, it's an ult. Nope, not an ult angle, but mid lane control gained. They're now stacked as 5. Humanoid knows he needs to push out top. Oscar, you would have to overextend to push out bot. There's not really much for Fnatic to get here. Gen.G just asserting their dominance, dropping the last of their wards. They now need to go back, replenish, pick up control wards, ready for the next objective, and spend what gold they have. The Zeal secured for Peyz means that they're ready. Dragon in 25 seconds.
Yep, Canyon doesn't find too much there with his Void Spikes, but just searching for some options. Noah clears out the wave. Hey, there we go. That's actually true.
Almost 300 gold. I know you love rune optimization. This is Noah bashing in.
Oh, Canyon gonna get spotted here as Humanoid comes from beneath him. And now this bug gonna have to run away. Does use the ultimate, now has to flash. Does get back to Lehends, who does have some heals, but there is the flick back, and they squash the bug under their feet. Fnatic now looking for that purple worm as well. It's optimistic, but they may have to just go for it here.
I like it. I mean, it's terrifying, but I do like it.
Yeah, you gotta
look at Oscar in mid.
Yeah. And if he finds his keeper's verdict, it could be absolutely massive. Now the Poppycopter is spinning. Kiin taking so much damage though. Chovy finds the ultimate. They throw away the Draven. That's a lot of damage missing, but Kiin finds the pushback. It's just not going to quite be enough. He's so tanky. And in comes Peyz now with these axes. And with the Draven turning up, I think it's now going to turn out to be a Gen.G fight. Oh, Fnatic, that was so close.
It's again the same problem. Yes, they get Canyon, but I think specifically Chovy still having access to his empowered ultimate is the big problem there. They need to play so safe, so respectful, because they know if they try and rush the Baron, they're going to get taken down, and even without damage
back up.
Razork.
Canyon is here. Razork could get into the pit, but they're not going to be able to steal this one away. Humanoid down to 50%. They're not going to jump on him, though, just looking to grab the Baron, reset, and look for more.
The idea behind the Baron there is to use it as an opportunity to turn and fight when you have a numbers advantage, but as you highlighted, Cronicler, and we'll look back at it, just Kiin goes in 1v4, right? And so while the ultimate from Oscarinin seems promising at start, look at how impossible it is to actually get onto the back line. The Baron buff's really proving dividends there as Jun just gets melted, the support disappears, and then Gen.G can just kite backwards to allow time for Peyz to rejoin the fight. Even as a 4v5, Gen.G's team fighting shows why it is such world-class level of the patience that they play.
Well, we're straight into another team fight here as it's a great bubble onto Oscar, and Noah manages to take down Canyon here. Gen.G now a man down. Can they still keep fighting though is the question. That bubble goes wide. The health bar's a little bit lower. Noah still playing so far up, and Kiin is a bit of a brick wall. He's going to be thrown away immediately though. Now a 5 versus 3 in theory.
I don't like it though.
Humanoid not very close to this one, and these health bars. It's not really what Fnatic want here in this moment. Kiin now dashing forward. Peyz has to get himself out though, throwing a few of these axes around. He does still have that ulti as the all-out does come on through. Razork gonna use it to try and get on top of Lehends, but he doesn't quite get there. He's now able to get out, and now the teleport's coming forward from Fnatic. The exhaust to make sure that damage is mitigated, and Jun takes down the dragon. Now Fnatic, it's their time to shine, and Oscar just keeps them away from the dragon.
Fnatic actually want a team fight versus Gen.G. They're still 4k gold down, but they'll deny the soul point away from Gen.G, and while it looked terrifying, they're able to catch Canyon out once again. Fnatic keeping us at the edge of our seats as they're going toe-to-toe with Gen.G in Game 2.
Gen.G getting kind of dragged into Fnatic's madness there. We saw Chovy on the deep flank, but Noah is able to flash away from his ultimate. And throughout all of that, Humanoid actually able to stay alive and then back off, TP in with a fresh health bar. Ended up being quite big as well.
And this is what we were promised, right? We were promised that Fnatic, we're going to drag teams into the mud with them. And that is precisely what's happened. Good bubble here onto Razork, but he's not under too much more threat. He's looking to protect his control ward, and he will be able to do that one successfully.
Big thing here is that even though Fnatic, as you pointed out, Vedi is still behind, they did really mitigate the Rebel Baron power play. Only like 400 gold for Gen.G. Not even the value you get for getting the Baron in the first place. Problem is that with all the kills that they got in the fight leading up to it, Gen.G still not going to be feeling too bad, but Fnatic's still fighting back.
The things to take into consideration are Flash is gone for both AD carries. Flash is gone for both supports. Exhaust up for Peyz, but not for Noah. What's crazy is that Chovy kept his flash throughout that whole fight. I guess because he was so isolated from the rest of his team, he thought that if I flash now, I'm still going to die anyway, so it's not worth spending. But as a threat, he's still going to be very prevalent in the next team fight. Good
nice
culling.
Yeah, half health onto Peyz now, who has to throw his ultimate back as well. We'll be able to clear the minions out with it, as Fnatic will just clear out the mid wave as well. Chovy just sort of unanswered here towards the top lane. He puts down a singularity, and we'll just fly on back.
Now he's level 16. This is actually really big because Gen.G holds on so tightly, and his mid lane turret is still relatively healthy. It makes it really hard for Fnatic to actually set up consistent control, and they've been able to get back-to-back catches on Canyon, but I do think that they're really reliant on getting a pick like that or finding axes immediately with Razork or Oscarinin, because otherwise they're engaged, like their snap engage can be a little bit rough into the Gen.G front line of Kiin. The Lehends is zoning.
I ultimately think Oscar is... He needs to start ulting Kiin. We saw it in the last fight, and I think that it's proved how effective it can be. Speaking of...
Yeah, Kiin taking a little bit of damage here, but there's a fight on multiple fronts. Kiin has been half health. There's still a lot more to get through, though, as this Ksante is extraordinarily tanky. Canyon just wanted to get himself out, will be able to leap in order to do that. So Gen.G will back away, and you can feel the amount of added respect that Gen.G are playing with here after finding themselves on the losing end of a team fight.
It's pretty interesting because Gen.G is still in control of this game, right? You can see how they have the mid control. They're the ones setting up vision on the entrance to Fnatic's jungle. But Fnatic are slowly gaining more confidence. It feels like that they're not as afraid of Gen.G when they walk up to acquire this space. And it's something that domestically, when G2, they'll push their boundaries to say, come on, Fnatic, we're testing you, we're asking you, are we actually allowed to be here? And then Fnatic will always fight them. And now it feels like Fnatic is slowly starting to say, no, Gen.G, you're not allowed in this space. This does belong to us. And as you rightly said, Gen.G showing that appropriate respect.
Canyon running around the jungle here, of course, can do so very swiftly, owing to the Cloud Rift. Oscar will be able to catch this wave, though, and I don't know whether you're going to be bursting down a poppy. Doesn't matter how fed you are. He's just very, very tanky. 3 items now done. As Gen.G just tidying up waves, not really finding too much more. Does feel a little bit like handshakes are going out. We'll see who's going to be able to make the next move to really gain an advantage in this game. It may just be this Baron that's going to be coming up in 20 seconds time.
I wouldn't be surprised if Gen.G, I don't know if they have the empowered ultimate on Chovy just yet, but try and play for that, get that, and then just force Fnatic into going into a fight with you. I think if Fnatic don't have either an angle or Oscarinin gets to ult someone away in a straight up front to back, where Canyon doesn't overstep again and gets promptly punished, Gen.G should still be able, because Kiin, like even with Noah actually having... Oh, again?
Yeah, jumped on immediately, is going to be able to go stealth and look to get himself out, but Razork's just going to be able to lock him down, thanks to Humanoid's damage as well. And Gen.G once again lose their jungler.
Fnatic find another punish onto Canyon. 40-second death timer for Canyon, but they did have to commit the shockwave and the flash from Razork. Kiin, a wall that stands in the way.
Yeah, continuing just to walk towards them. My God, the damage as the skies descend onto Fnatic here. Kiin just wandering forward. He'll find the Q onto Razork, and now Chovy is flying down. Noah's going to be executed, but Chovy will suffer the same fate. Peyz is just popping off, though, throwing these axes left, right, and center, and no one is answering the Draven. There are too many threats for them to deal with.
And the man got a finals MVP because of his performance on this specific champion. The amount of confidence that Kiin has and Gen.G has, even though that was a risky play. It was a 4 versus 5. Canyon, one of their most fed members, wasn't even there, and they still end up going for it. We'll be up now to make sure that this Baron goes the way of Gen.G.
Yeah, Peyz just happily starting that one up, knows that his tankier members are about to join him. And Gen.G with their second Baron of the game. This one, I think, a little bit more backbreaking than the first.
The commitment onto Canyon proved promising initially, but Fnatic, I guess they overstayed their welcome. You see the execution onto Canyon. Immediately they look to control the... I feel like they should have just moved back into the river to set up for the Dragon, but it just gives Kiin this opportunity to set up for the engage. Chovy starts the fight off with a massive ultimate. The follow-up tidal wave from Lehends was huge, and then Kiin isolating 3 members alone sets up the fight for Peyz and Chovy to just do the work.
Big part of that is that Chovy's like, oh, Kiin, you're tanking all these people. I can come in as well, right? Immediately dies. But it doesn't end up mattering as the fight is very scrappy.
Okay, over the wall and then back over the wall. For Canyon here, as he immediately flashes away, the Whirling Death is going to be blocked there by Oscarinin. And that is going to mean that Noah is definitely not going to die from that one. Not a massive amount of stacks here for Peyz, so probably wouldn't have executed anyway. But that is fine. We've moved to like a 9,000 gold lead now, gentlemen. This game's kind of running away from Fnatic.
4.5k of it is on Peyz right now.
Well, maybe that could just provide them with a target here, as they have decided to go on to Kiin. Good shockwave. He's going to connect Heroic Charge just to CC him up, and Kiin may die. It's going to take a while, but eventually he is going to be taken down. As it turns out, cannot 1v5.
I think that's
so that's
good.
his limit.
That's good.
Yeah, at least,
now we know.
Yeah, at least 5 people.
So 3 good, 5 not good.
Yeah, not good.
Right, okay.
That is a large ultimate here from Chovy, but Oscar once again makes his way back in. Canyon should just be squashed, but he's able to leap his way out, and the culling just not quite enough range on those bullets. Fnatic not going to be able to grab the Kha'Zix this time.
Gen.G are getting messy. And I will say that Fnatic, even with their deficit, do like this kind of environment. Being able to find these random picks, these random skirmishes, they're just giving Fnatic... giving Fnatic an opportunity to bounce back in this game. Again, the Baron not really resulting in a huge amount for Gen.G. So Gen.G kind of need to lock it in a little bit if they want to close this one out.
Yeah. I would agree. I think it's they're definitely falling for Fnatic's tricks here. You know, like wanting to actually dive in and just say yes.
They're still like 7.5k gold ahead.
Oh yeah.
I feel like that.
I will say though,
despite everything,
if Peyz dies, it's not that much.
It's also a lot of money for Fnatic. You know, that's a big gold swing.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
This is a big bounty.
The question is, can they kill Peyz?
And Chovy.
I mean, yeah, afterwards. And then there's the Kiin problem. But, you know, one problem at a
Well,
time.
one at a time, one at a time, okay? We're trying to...
You can't cross multiple bridges at once.
Yeah, it's
you
true.
know, you have to choose them. So we'll get to the first bridge. That's going to be the Peyz bridge. And that one is looking like it could be possible, at least before a GA does come through, as Canyon, when becomes lightning, not going to find his backside, and he's able to get himself out of there.
Look at bot lane, though. Kiin sitting isolated means that Fnatic overcommitting 5 members towards the top side to try and find a pick. Going to likely cost them a tower here.
Kiin's health bar
needs
is
to
very
be careful. Yes, it is one of vast quantities, one could say.
Humanoid will find a shockwave as Kiin is going to W through it. Now this is the 1v3 that we were talking about. Can Razork actually get in here, make it a 1v4 because Noah is in so much trouble. He gets queued back, and there's the 4th man to make sure Kiin can't get it done.
I like what's happening. I don't know about you two.
I think Kiin's having a really good time. Sometimes you just got to cull away the ultimate.
It's for the style points, Atlus! Yeah. So, Gen.G is definitely, as you both point
as
out,
regional experts,
they're getting
run me through the Gen.G mentality here. Let's educate the audience. What are we seeing right now?
I think this is Kiin in his element.
Yeah.
Just like wanting to limit test at every
He could have W with Lehends was securing him. He was like, I got you, bro. I got him out. And Kiin's like, no, watch me. And then he dies.
He offered him a hand out of the pool, and he dived into the deep end.
Yeah. No, you just got the chrome spray and said, witness me, and then it was all done. And then Noah culling his way out of the whirling death, which was beautiful. Love to see those mechanics. Little known that actually works.
First time I've seen it.
Yeah, me too.
The big thing though here, and this is why I think we're having some fun with it, is it needs to lead to an actual objective. If this leads to like a Baron or a fight where Fnatic is actually able to get through multiple members on Gen.G, the mid lane turret is still standing throughout all of this, right? So as long as Fnatic, these kills are just going to extend the game, and I do think that I really like what Gen.G have when they get to the late game for obvious reasons, the Aesol being the most prominent one, but it's not like the Orianna isn't going to be able to do insane amounts of damage once Humanoid finishes that death cap.
Yeah, not to mention the value of Milio in late game fights as well is just massive with all of the CC immunity that you can
they're going.
Canyon throwing some void spikes around.
Fnatic.
Razork,
I was going to say, they need to find a way into the Dragon Pit, and they found one.
Yeah.
They're forcing the ult out from Canyon.
Very fast, especially when he does press that R button. The W quite landing there, but it is looking dangerous here for Gen.G.
Doing a good job of keeping control of the mid wave. Bot wave also pushing. Fnatic are just kind of awkwardly abandoning a lot of farm to be able to contest this Dragon Soul. Chovy in a good position, has the ultimate available.
And you can see Canyon just once again poking his nose in, looking to try and pull Fnatic apart as much as he possibly can.
Razork trying to heal up on the red buff. Hand this over to his team as well. The buff will also help heal him up passively.
Finding more and more of these W's from Canyon, and now the fight has broken out. Kiin finds 3 as he dives forward, absorbs and exhausts as well. This time, Jun's able to get himself out though, and it's once again Kiin with the 1v5, absorbing as much as he can.
But it's Oscarinin that knocks back all the damage. So Kiin is tanking and tanking, but it doesn't actually matter. The health bars on Fnatic are low though. We'll see if they can contest for this Drake.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of frontline left remaining. Yeah, exactly right. Lehends down to 50%. It's, oh my god, Humanoid loses most of his health bar, but now Oscar's back, and his health bar's huge.
Humanoid has the TP as well. Neither team is going to start off the Dragon. 35 seconds, Chovy looking.
Yeah, flying on forward as Canyon has been spotted. Noah dives on top of him. Canyon's going to leap away.
25 seconds on Kiin.
Wow. Peyz does a lot of damage, and yes, Kiin does have teleport up and available as well. It should just be the Drake going over to Fnatic, though, once again, denying a Sol, grabbing some bounty gold. They're still in this.
Fnatic have taken the kill lead for the first time in this series. And Gen.G looking out of sorts. Their team fighting looking a bit, I don't know, disconnected in terms of their execution. You have to remember,
Kiin was 4-0-3
he was,
a while back.
That he was. Gen.G don't actually have the most reliable engage when we think about it. Kiin is their engage. So if Fnatic actually... Oh, Canyon, are you dead again?
He might just be. He's going to have to flash away. But there's the dive forward. Humanoid's going to grab it once again. Can they actually get a kill back, though, is the question.
That's a Baron.
And the answer's going to absolutely be no.
No power. Chovy uses ult.
Yeah. Okay, Oh, hang on, Oscar needs to land the ult onto Kiin.
They got to get him out of there. Chovy's got the singularity in the pit as well. Gen.G, I don't know whether they want this one. Bubble is going to connect. And now Chovy breathing on them. That's going to be the Drake taken down. Shockwave goes wide. I don't think that matters. They just need to get out of there, utilize this Baron as best they can. Oscar going down low, but he creates enough distance. The culling gets rid of Peyz as well. And Gen.G, there's nothing they can do.
Fnatic actually get the Baron. Gen.G have made one too many mistakes, and now Fnatic are fully back into this game. The goal difference is going to mean less and less. A death cap is going to be secured for Humanoid. Fnatic stand a chance of getting a big win over Gen.G in this series.
Starts again with Canyon getting caught out, and the combination, the 1-2 of Razork and Humanoid finding the extended chase, the movement speed from the Orianna, the threat of the ultimate, and Razork just consistently hitting his Ws. And now, Gen.G, for the first time, really pushed back to their own base.
Yeah, and we've mentioned this many times, but haven't said, oh, okay, we've got a little bit of a dash out here by Kiin. Looking to try and defend their inner turret. Shockwave is going to connect on to this Ksante. They've recognized they just need to kill Kiin, and then there's just not a lot of ways for Gen.G to mitigate fights and keep space from this Fnatic war machine that's just walking them down. Yeah, Chovy does manage to find it here as the skies descend onto Fnatic. The knockups were massive, but it's going to connect onto Kiin here as well. The two-man queue is going to connect also as now Razork diving on forward, being an absolute hero. Canyon this time, he is a big threat, and Fnatic's health bars are so incredibly low. It's a double for the Dragon, and I think Gen.G, it's been a couple of fights for Fnatic, but this time Gen.G have found one themselves.
Oh, Oscar trying to stay alive for as long as possible because the mid lane highway is open. The minions in the previous play did take it as Lehends tried to 1v1 Noah. Noah says, you are a Nami. Do not step up to me with the teleport. I don't know if they have the wave.
All right, Canyon looking for an opportunity here. And Noah's just going to kill him. Still, Chovy is going to be able to get one back. Still, I wouldn't say that that is necessarily positive. They might be able to grab themselves an inhibitor here in the mid lane, but I don't think we're ending the game anytime soon, gentlemen.
So the Baron is a curse. That's what we've learned. The
Baron's bad.
Yeah,
Baron
don't get
does
Barons.
not win you games. Chovy, though, when the chips are down, this man really does just put the team on his back. How massive was that ultimate? Like, he literally threw a star at Fnatic. Look at Chovy and look at his engage. Phenomenal. Like, what can Fnatic do?
Yeah, they're Humanoid, and he has to play aggressive because he wants to consistently find his damage. But as a result, he has to immediately use a stopwatch, so he's not actually able to do a whole lot in the fight. And then once you actually get to front to back, once Kiin is there with damage backup, that's where you do see Gen.G able to utilize their comp as, yeah, thank you for pointing it out, Vedi. The amount of increased range on Chovy's ultimate is 85%. As this is the most Lehends thing that I've seen, what, like today?
Yeah, that's a big one. He just he was
zoning.
It was a zoning death. He was making sure that Noah couldn't.
If him and Kiin didn't die, they could have ended the game.
Yeah, 100%.
And I know they were trying to keep the wave safe, but if they were alive, then on the next wave, I think there was a window. Going to be the case.
I tell you what, though, Noah has been playing exceptionally well on this Lucian. I think he's been able to find as many opportunities as he possibly can. Currently has 6 items to his name as well. And I think he could be a win condition if him and Oscar can get things together in some of these fights.
It's just this Space Dragon.
We didn't talk about it for a long time, guys, but I think it's time.
But it's about time that global warming is really setting in now, guys. Like
it's here.
Yeah.
Because you can't even walk up to choke points. Like if he puts down
the singularity is very scary, but that culling is also very scary. This time, the ulti's not going to find quite as much value.
That's a win for Fnatic.
Yeah, if they get to back off now, they can get all of that health back. As you can see, Noah's just fine now.
His ulti. What ultis have been used? Chovy's is down, and as you rightly said, that's usual. Lehends is gone as well.
Yeah, Whirling Death is there, but Peyz, so hard for him to walk up as this Drake getting taken down so incredibly low. There's the Keeper's Verdict. That's going to get rid of the Dragon, and that is a 3rd Cloud Drake here for Fnatic. Whirling Death not finding any value here And now the dash forward from Razork. Kiin finds 3 as well on his side of the fight, and he's gonna take another 1v5. Chovy has to go golden to avoid the shockwave. The Ksante taken down once again, but Humanoid is gonna follow suit, and they're in the Thunderdome, gentlemen, and this dragon is just breathing hell down on top of them. Canyon off to the side, waiting for his moment, and breathing goes the dragon. They'll take their chances with the bug, but the Draven is too scary. And it's another kill for Chovy, and Gen.G will finally get their ace.
Too many problems, unfortunately, for Fnatic. They take care of Kiin, but the damage dealers are still alive.
The death timers are too long, and as long as Peyz is alive, I think that's going to be it. A 44-minute slugfest, back and forth, team fights galore, but Gen.G are going to close out game 2.
I think this is definitely a much better showing, though, from Fnatic, showing that they can definitely go toe-to-toe with Gen.G. The inevitability of this big old celestial dragon in the mid lane, certainly a problem, as Gen.G will finish off the Nexus with an ulti. At least what it looks like. And they'll move to match point here in their first series at MSI.
And that game, Chovy obviously is always, as he has been throughout this entire year, as he's been for Gen.G for the last 2 years, going to be a big talking point. But I also want to give credit to Peyz. I was very pleasantly surprised by his Draven. I think it is the type of pick where, particularly in mid to late game teamfights, if you overstep into the amount of burst on Fnatic, if he had mispositioned in a couple of the fights, Fnatic at times, especially when they got that Baron, were so close to actually breaking open Gen.G. In the end, it wasn't enough.
Yeah, I feel like it was a little bit of a look back to the Peyz that was praised so much when he was down in Challenger,
Peyz
right?
that was promised.
Yeah, this is the Peyz that we were supposed to get, but instead there are too many carries on his team, and so often he has to take a back seat.
I will say, an uncharacteristic performance from Canyon. Getting caught out a bunch.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And, but as you rightly said, it was difficult for Fnatic to really translate that into any significant objectives. They were able to get the Baron, but the Baron was the folly in this game. 3 Barons every single time amounting to nothing. So.
And Gen.G sort of should have known this, right? Because they've faced up against T1 so many times where it's just Barons go back and forth, doesn't actually mean anything. You have to find yourself a team fight to make something happen. But really good to see Fnatic put up such a good fight here in game number 2. There might be some promise moving